So in 1971, you decided to get serious, and you got permission to enter the United States. Good decision on our part. And you got permission to enter the United States. Good decision on our part. You started as chef de cuisine at a restaurant called the Swiss Hütte.
Yes.
I mean, I don't even want to know. I don't really want to know. It's in Hillsdale. I don't know if it's still there. I really don't care. With a name like that, I'm not likely to have heard about it much. But I will say, though we haven't talked much about that experience. The most important thing that I think happened during your time there is you met who became your wife, Mary, at that point, and that obviously you guys got married 3 years later in June of 1974. So there was some benefit to being at the Swiss Hütte. Before you got married, you made the important decision to come to New York City. And that, I think, is very important. That would now define your career in many ways, really to the present day. And at the time, you took an assignment as sous chef at Chateau Richelieu, which was, again, a restaurant that at this time there was the beginning of real French cuisine in New York City, and Chateau Richelieu was one of the places that represented that here in the United States. New York at the time, Michel Rata, the chef there at the time, was really one of the acclaimed chefs for that particular era. Though you didn't, again, you had trouble holding a job, I've noticed, but you were recruited. You were recruited almost immediately to take a job at JFK for Air France, and you were the chef de partie for Air France.
The sous chef.
Sous chef de partie. Well, sous chef. I'm just jumping ahead. It's not important. But you moved back to. Again, I'm doing all these moves very quickly so as we can kind of keep up with your career. You stayed there for about a year, and then your next year was to join the new team at Windows on the World when it opened. And that, of course, many of us now, that brings us to a time when you really begin to see the flourishing of haute cuisine in New York, and you have more than a few chefs now starting to show themselves in New York, both French and American, creating things that we live with to this very day. In 1977, you returned yet again to JFK, but it's very important. You created, as I understand it, you created the menu for the inaugural flight of the Concorde, the Air France Concorde, not the British Airways Concorde. Foie gras, fish and chips. So this exposure with Air France led to what was an important return to France for a period. Returned to Paris to work with Michelin 3-star chef Alain Saint-Laurent, which, of course, I think pretty much anybody who's traveled to Paris at any time and eaten in Paris knows who this is. I mean, he was one of the legends of his time, still carries forward a great reputation. The restaurant there was, at the time, was L'Orchestrade, which was really the epicenter at the time for Nouvelle Cuisine. Not necessarily my favorite cuisine because I find the portions are too small. but the beauty of Nouvelle Cuisine was the experimentation with ingredients that took place at that time, beginning to combine things that were traditional and yet not traditional at the same time. So while you were there, you obviously gained great insight and sharpened your skills, your experience, your vision of what cooking is all about. And in 1979, you returned again to the United States, back to New York.
1981.
81?
Yeah, 1981.
Okay, 81. I'll take it. You actually probably know better. So. Sometime between 1979 and 81,
That's 3 years.
you returned to New York. I probably put that down wrong. It's been known to happen. What's important now is that you returned at a very different, I think, visibility level in New York. You return as sous chef to open with Chef Saint-Laurent the Restaurant Maurice in the Parker Meridien Hotel, which was actually an Air France hotel, as many of you know. It was really one of the new lights of French cuisine in New York, and again, a little intersection of personal and Christian here. I played squash daily club in the basement of the Hotel Maurice called the Club La Roquette. And I would go up at the end of the day, and I would go up and have a meal at Maurice. It was one of the great ways to finish the day. So I didn't know you were there at the time. We did not know each other, and so I'm unhappy about that. But I knew there was someone who knew what they were doing at that restaurant, creating great food. So did the New York Times. They gave it 3 stars.
Yeah.
And you remained there for the next 10 years. Did I get that one right? Yes. I mean, becoming executive chef in the process. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, I'm just going to check all my facts. As we go along, I'm just going to check, have a date wrong here and there, After 9 years there, you took yet another challenge, and you opened a new restaurant. I'm jumping over here as I distracted myself. From there, that's right, you left in 1989, the Park Ingredient, to take the challenge as executive chef at the newly opened restaurant La Célébrité in the Essex House.
And the hotel.
Yes. And that was, again, one of the restaurants that immediately was recognized and immediately became a benchmark of French cooking in New York. And the hotel was undergoing a complete renovation while this was going on. And for 2 years or a year and a half, whatever it was, you got to travel around to Tokyo and China and who knows where else. You were learning all sorts of things, picking up ideas while they were renovating the hotel and the restaurant. So you came back, you took over there, and you got as executive chef, and you got rave reviews from every quarter, again, including 2 different times the 3-star rating from the New York Times, plus a plethora of critical acclaim from different sources that I remember seeing, because now we're at a time when I'm paying attention. After 9 years there, you took yet another challenge, and you opened the new restaurant L'Espinasse, which many of us remember, in the St. Regis Hotel. Another immediate landmark, another immediate hit of French cuisine in New York. And here now the New York Times, by this time, has increased its 3 stars to 4 stars, and so you got 4 stars, and you got the Best Restaurant Award there while you were chef from Gourmet Magazine in the year 2000. And if Michelin had been in New York at the time, I'm absolutely certain that Michelin would have given 3 stars. I remember being there. They just weren't here then. They came in later, and so we missed that. So we've sort of moved along here. You followed after a certain time there, you moved back to the Essex House, again as executive chef for now Alain Ducasse, when he opened the new restaurant in the Essex House that many of us remember. Remember, there was a feature in that restaurant. There was a gold dome in the middle of the restaurant in the ceiling. And if you sat in the wrong place, you could hear everything that was said at 3 tables away precisely. I mean, if there was a business deal going down, you would hear it. But it was a lovely, lovely restaurant, and one of the ones that immediately got attention from everybody. And it was really, again, not because of Alain Ducasse, but because of you, Christian, it became. And he wasn't in the kitchen, you were in the kitchen. So it was because of you that it again became one of the leading restaurants of its day in New York City, again, on the French side. So there'd be other ventures to follow. I really can't go and don't think I need to go. You're getting the picture here. I don't need to go through everything that followed, but you have spent a lot of time to help chefs, to revitalize menus, to help guide restaurants in New York, leading today to your role at Le Mangeoire, which to me may be your most satisfying endeavor in many ways, because you've come full circle in how you view food, I think. This is the way I look at it. And were it not for Le Mangeoire and you, I would be 20 pounds lighter. But you are able at Le Mangeoire to present what really to many people is classic French country fare. It's classic in the sense that the ingredients and the combinations of food are the kind of things that when you envision French food and you're not thinking about 3 stars in Paris or something, you envision being out in the country at a great restaurant, sitting down with the trees and the birds and the flowers and having this meal that you remember forever. And I view that as exactly what's going on right now at Le Mangeoire. You and your partner, Gerard, have an amazing little secret going on that it's kind of an open secret, but lately when it was first started, it was much easier to go. Now you have to kind of like call and say, well, I kind of know the chef a little, maybe Gerard, I can get in. And it's become very popular, as well it should, and it becomes very much where New Yorkers and people from France and other parts of the world go if they want to have a classic French meal. It's the best. I can't say that enough times. You've received many awards over the years for your work, for your vision, for your commitment, including both the Chevalier and the Commandeur of the Ordre du Mérite Agricole. You got Chef of the Year from the Maître de Cuisinier de France in 2001, I believe, yes, and a nomination as Best Chef of the Year by the James Beard Foundation, something I know a little bit about, also in 2001. But all this recognition and all these awards do not really fully present you as a person. They're awards, they're recognitions. You're facing, you're humble, but you're proud, as you should be. Proud of your craft, proud of your achievements, and proud of your skills, and you should be as well. Your life as a chef is a difficult one and always has been. Any chef will tell you it's one of the hardest professions that you can do. Long hours, cramped quarters, hot environments, splattering this, splattering that, customers complaining. It's not something you do unless you want to serve the benefit of other people, to make them happy. It's not about what you do, it's about what people enjoy. And I think that exemplifies very much your role. Your commitment, your love of food, your French cuisine, your love of French cuisine, and your responsibility to present and to keep alive the history and patrimony of French cuisine in New York City is very important. There are McDonald's in Paris, but there's no Le Mangeoire in Paris. And so I see the importance of keeping alive these great traditions of French cooking that have really shaped world cuisine more than anyone else perhaps would like to even admit. You're also very free with your time. You haven't learned to say no, and maybe you should practice, and I'm sure Mary would agree. When people come to you and they need help, they have an event, there is something, a charitable thing going on that you could participate in, you become the chef du moment for that particular event, and you throw yourself into it, and you help people and other chefs. I remember recently we were together at a big event in New Jersey, I don't know, 300 people. We were honoring Thomas Keller, who instantly wanted to be here tonight. I don't see him, so I guess he